Hello everyone, how you doing? This is part 3 of the video on school and campus safety across the state of Massachusetts, also known as the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, as far as the mask goes, let me remind everyone again, I'm inside a building where masks are required. I'll say it again in case I wasn't clear. About the mask that I'm wearing, it is required inside the building I am right now. And I agreed to wear the mask. And if you're going to give me a hard time with negative comments about the mask, you're completely being a jerk. I'm just going to let you know. All right? So there's nothing wrong with wearing a mask, especially during a pandemic. All right, so let's start off from here. In part 3 of this video, as I've looked at all the media and news and everything like that, both positive and negative, the ones I'm really concerned about is the learning environment ever since normal operations resumed. It is very concerning. Not just at the colleges, also high schools and lower. Because, there's been so many incidents at schools and colleges across the state of Massachusetts. From fraternities at Massachusetts colleges like UMass Amherst and Boston University, with the sexual assaults, racist attacks going on. And then WPI in Worcester, there was a series of suicides. That's very concerning because, administration should care about the well-being of students instead of caring about getting money all the time. There's also, other colleges that's been going on here. Let's talk about the high schools. You got Brockton High School students. They claimed that they were sexually harassed verbally at a high school in Norwood. And you got a series of fights going on up in Lawrence, Haverhill, another fight at Everett High School. And you got a series of fights going on at Stoughton High School. And then you have like hazing and racism going on at Danvers High School with the hockey team. And then Tewksbury, parents and players fighting on a rink, and the referee stand by. It got to the point where police got involved. Luckily, no ambulance transport was requested. It's a mess. It's been a long semester. A long fall 2021 semester. It's been long. It's just, the whole problem is this. It's just, I feel that people just don't know how to act. Ever since the pandemic started, after being cooped up and isolated indoors for those who wanted to be, for those that chose to stay indoors. There was others that didn't want to go by the guidelines. But I gotta say this too: the pandemic lockdown and its restrictions, it did change. It did change a lot of behaviors. The pandemic, it also taught me some things. It also be more careful, wash my hands more often, not just after I use the bathroom or when I'm about to cook something, eat something, more frequently. That's what it taught me, to wash my hands or sanitize my hands more frequently. Like right now, see? See? That's what I'm doing right now, is just sanitizing my hands. I even sanitized my hands before I even made this video, but I just do it some more during the video and after this video. I even have a cell phone, disinfectant. It's just like a ultraviolet system without residue. But anyways, let's get back to the point of this video. Really, it's just so much in these schools. Series of fights, racism, sexual assaults, sexual harassment. In part 2 of the video, I was calling on everyone to come together to really put their differences aside, put their views aside, and all come together, whether it's via Zoom, in person, or both. Really. I know some people can't make it to meetings, but the thing is, it's good to do it by Zoom, if possible, because I understand situations where people don't have good internet and everything, which is completely understandable because I'm also pushing for better internet access for everyone, especially when it comes to stuff like this. And really, the whole thing going on, with social media, because that's another thing that create more concerns on school and campus safety. Social media. Somebody says something about another and everything like that in a Facebook group, and the person finds out, fights break out, and there's racist videos. I'm like, look what happened at Quincy High School and Braintree High School. They did walkouts in response to racist videos, and the school administrations at both high schools not doing anything about it. It's not surprising. And even back when, part 1 of the video, I did that in response to the principal that was brutally assaulted by one of her students. But the thing is, I like to know is what led up to that. That's the thing right there. Are they gonna tell everyone what led up to that? Probably not. But the thing is this, it's been a long fall 2021 semester for all the schools and colleges across the state of Massachusetts. It really has been. And, also like to say congratulations to Mayor Michelle Wu for being the first woman of color being elected, or should I say, congratulations, Michelle Wu, for being, the first ever elected female of color as mayor of Boston. Because that is the historical win right there. That is. And I'm also a former Boston Public School student. And I don't know if you heard this in my last 2 videos, that I have met Michelle Wu back in 2016 during the People Over Pipeline March. I took a picture with her. And, she's a great person. Some things I don't agree with, such as removing police officers from schools and stuff like that. I'm like, I completely understand the reason. But, the thing is, I just don't like the idea of, school police officers losing their power to arrest people because of the reform law. Now, some ways I agree with the police reform, some ways I don't agree. Because because the thing about these police reform is you got violent ones that get off too easily, violent ones. But the lower level offenders, they don't. I'm like, they deserve a break. They deserve a chance to get back on their feet. But the high violent offenders, they don't deserve a second chance. They don't. I know not everyone agrees with me on this video. I know that. But there's always going to be people that will agree and disagree with you. No matter how you see it. No matter what your views are. But see, the thing is, I don't go making enemies with anyone, especially the police, because I don't go saying, stuff like "f the police" or anything like that. That's not me, because that's not me at all. Because I'm not a person who does that, because you're just making enemies. And also with Sean Spicer, when he was out there at UMass a while back, if I had a chance to go out there, I would actually like to hear him out, although I don't like him. But then after what I heard, I'm glad I didn't go out there, because he was engaging with the crowd and trying to start problems. But really, But again, it's freedom of speech. It applies to everyone, regardless of your political views or any kind of views. But doesn't mean it's protected. See, what I'm trying to say is, free speech doesn't protect hate speech. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Like sometimes, I get a little shy when I make videos like what I'm doing right now. But I'm still working on it to be camera shy, actually camcorder shy, making videos. But really, people, free speech doesn't protect hate speech. Free speech doesn't protect racist speech. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And it's just people got to understand. I try to understand the pandemic has created a lot of stress for a lot of people, especially towards families, relationships, friendships. Some people kind of lost their social skills due to the pandemic, because being cooped up inside, virtual reality. People claim that they were annoyed by others because they were like either calling, texting, messaging, like during the lockdowns. But I experienced that when somebody was calling or texting so much. But see, I like at least try to understand a person and be patient with them, because the thing is, with all the lockdowns and everything like that, yeah, it's just better off to stay connected virtually during the time. But then it gets to a point that you sick and tired of doing virtual reality, and some people decided hey, just still say hi, see each other as long as you're 6 feet apart. Yeah, that's what I did. I did that with two other people, with two people actually. I hung out with them, although I was 6 feet apart, or more maybe 8 or 10 feet. But either way, as long as you're 6 feet apart at the time, you're good. As long as guidelines is followed, you're good. But in Massachusetts, everything's been lifted and all that, but people are still being cautious. And that's another thing. People are at schools and everything like that. They just continue to be safe, wash their hands, sanitize their hands. Some bring PPE products within the class, everything like that. I'm like, hey, I do all the time. I bring hand wipes with me, disinfectant wipes, because when I go to a restaurant or a bar, if I'm about to sit at the stool or table, you know what I do? I just wipe it myself before I sit down, then eat. But after I'm done eating or drinking, you know what I do? I just get right back up and then wipe it off myself again. That's all. No matter where I go. And I see a lot of that at schools as well. Some students, they will take their own disinfectant wipes and wipe it. Obviously, janitors are real on top of that and everything, because yeah, they're the ones that take that risk, and you gotta give props to them on that one, because they're the heroes too, because they put themselves at risk doing that, and a lot of them do wear masks like they're supposed to. But sometimes, the mask thing, when people are like, eating or drinking, it can be misunderstood. And there's times where people's masks don't stay on properly, so it falls off, and obviously the person that tells them to keep the mask on, they didn't see it, and that's where it gets, you know, to a point where there's misunderstanding. Like one person told me to keep my mask on. I said, "Oh no, I'll keep it on." It's just I explained to him that, I was adjusting and it fell off. Yeah, see, that's another thing about masks. See, like when you're riding public transportation, you gotta wear these kind of masks, not ski mask, not balaclavas, not neck gaiters, and of course, not bandanas. But if you're at a school, whatever like that, I'm like, they don't care as long as you have face coverings. But the thing is, too, I just want to remind everybody that, we just can't continue to have all these series of violence, racism, sexual assaults, bullying to continue in learning environments, because it does disrupt our learning. It does. And look what happened at Brockton High School. A student was placed under arrest, but the problem was the way the school resource officer in Brockton High School, his knee was on the student. He was kneeling on the student. That was the aggressor, because from what I'm hearing, that the student that was being arrested attacked another student. Yes, the officer was in the right doing his job by arresting the student, but he didn't have to do all that to restrain him. I'm like, yeah, I know, like high schools and rough areas, those kids, yeah, they'll get tough, but but parents say if the officer's was a lot bigger than the student that was the aggressor, he had to do all that. I agree, he should have kneeled on the student, but there's other ways to restrain the student and arrest them. But then again, I didn't see the whole entire thing. I didn't see the attack, but it seems to me that the Brockton High School students, I guess they're really like interested in filling the arrests. But the Stoughton High School students, they were recording a fight in the hallway, and the teachers like breaking it up and getting hurt. And then school administration in Stoughton, they were talking about disciplining the students by suspending them for filming because they think they were engaging. Well, if this if the Stoughton School District people are watching this video, you might want to take that back. Don't suspend or expel the students for filming the fight. Because that fight at Stoughton High School and that being on video, that can help with the investigation. So you might want to take that back. Like, if you do see students filming the fight, everything, you're going to have to ask them to turn it over. So, because it helps with the investigation. Just like Brockton, Stoughton, Lawrence, Haverhill, and all other police departments across Massachusetts, if there's any videos, they're always asking people to turn it over. Just like I have this right here. You know what this is? Body camera. See, I carry it everywhere I go. Because with all the stuff going on, it's a must carry everywhere. Where if I'm on the T, or if I'm on the commuter rail, or if I'm on the Amtrak, or if I'm on the RIPTA bus, which is the province bus system, or if it's on WRTA in Worcester, or PVTA, which is located in the Springfield, Massachusetts area. Maybe if it's what, CT Transit or CT Rail, which is located in Connecticut, or obviously the MTA in New York. See, having these in handy is a good idea. And I encourage others to do the same as well, if they have the funds for it. See, I got this off of Amazon. That's why I got mine. But like I said, in the other videos, private business do have the right to say, take it off. They do. And, teachers having body cameras, I think it's a good idea to have them because, especially, if they happen to, like, get into a student or have a problem with a student. But then some parents may not like the idea, which is completely understandable because there's no telling what people do with body cameras. But the thing is this, if you're just if you're just like a normal citizen like myself with a body camera, walking around in case, and if somebody threatens you, you have that to back up to back up your claim and everything. But again, private businesses and private business owners can say, please take off the camera and put it away. They have that right. But anyways, I'm about to put this. I'm gonna put this in for part 3. But until then, have a great Thanksgiving and happy upcoming Hanukkah. So be safe, be well, take care of yourselves and each other. So stay tuned for part 4, which I plan to do after Thanksgiving. Thank you, and for those of you who support my videos, I appreciate it. Thumbs up.